After watching this video, you will know how to 3D model a staircase in Blender without any extra add-ins using just the basic modeling techniques. This video is part of my interior visualization course in Blender, which is available for free on my channel. The videos are slow-paced, so everyone can follow them, and you can find a complete playlist with all the other parts in the video description. If you want to access all of the project files I've created together with the course and support what I do, I share more info on that at the end of the video. In any case, my name is Lech and welcome to my interior visualization course in Blender. In this video, we will continue working on our 3D scene and adding the secondary details such as the stairs here, the stair barriers here. Perhaps we will work a little bit on the stairs here. And before we do that, I think we could still fix some very small bugs from the previous video. So one of them is this edge here, which I, forgive me, but simply forgot about it. But it's very easy to fix. So we just enter the edit mode of the selected object, and I will just delete those faces. So not a big deal. I'm selecting them, deleting, and I will just fill those empty holes here. So we have a better mesh, just like that. And as you can see, when we enter the look dev view right now, we have a very shiny and straight surface. Later during the course, I might consider actually joining those two meshes together. So we remove this edge here and have a better surface for texturing, but we will see that. For now, I think it's okay. And as I mentioned in the previous video, the modeling of a house or anything from technical drawings is a step-by-step process. So later you might decide to change the geometry layout, not necessarily in the entire scene, but perhaps, as I mentioned, maybe just here so it looks better. We will see that. Second fix I would like to apply is maybe not that necessary because we won't see that in our renderings, but as you can see, when we go out from the building, there is this little area here which doesn't look good in my opinion. And to fix that, we can actually just select the walls, I think, and thanks to Blender 2.80 we can now edit multiple objects simultaneously. So with 3 wall elements selected, I can now enter the edit mode. Let's just double check if everything is unhidden. Let's select those vertices here and move them just like that. Of course, I could use some of the precision tools the Blender has, but since we are doing this for the exterior, and as you can see, when we enter the look dev mode, this actually, because we did the transformation on such a low level of scale, it's not even visible. Maybe here just a little bit. So let's now fix this face here. And to do that, I think we will also need to change this wall layout together with the floor slab we edited before. So let's select those two objects now. Select these vertices here and let's just move them, and we can zoom in very closely, and now G within the X axis and move them as close as possible. So now when we enter the look dev mode, you can see the crack might be there somewhere, but it's basically not visible. And if it's, you can see just a very little mark. To remove it completely, we would probably need to remodel this area as well, so we have just a single face here. But as I mentioned, because we are just focusing on the interior of the building, we'll just leave it as it is. So I think now we have pretty nice mesh and we can start adding the secondary details. I was thinking starting off with the stairs because they are a pretty common object present in almost every single interior, and there are multiple ways for doing them. I think a lot of people use some kind of add-ons for that, but let me just show you how you can do it starting with a humble cube. So I just created a cube and aligned it to this edge here, because this stair, in our case, I think we will just use a part of a floor slab to create this stair here. So we will start modeling from this area here. I'm just extending the cube so it reaches the last step and more or less the floor level here in the cellar. And now once I have it, I will just freely move this edge here. It doesn't have to be aligned to any of the stairs, and by pressing Ctrl R, I will start adding loop cuts very freely, so you can see I can match the actual layout of the stairs we can see. And when I hit 0 and enter to apply, we now have a mesh that's divided exactly as the stairs here. We only need to align those faces so they match the stairs we have in the drawing. And again, there are two ways of doing that. One of them, the one I personally prefer, is simply extruding face after face. So I deselect one of the faces, then just freely extrude up, deselect one of the faces, extrude up, deselect and extrude, deselect and extrude. And again, as long as you don't have to do a super precise modeling, I would say for 99% of the interiors this will work perfectly, because you will be never able to tell what's the height difference between those stairs. If you add a camera perspective, camera distortion, and all of that effects, which are natural when doing 3D visualizations, trust me, you're never able to tell if there is any height difference between these stairs, as you can see. So let's switch out the drawing. Let's just move it a little bit out of the building. Yeah. And even if there are, you can always edit them manually, because you have very easy mesh. So very simple mesh, sorry. So you can see we can select every single stair and just adjust its height, length, and everything. The other method we could use would be just let's just create another cube, shall we, and see how it goes. So again, I create a cube, align it very quickly. This is the method I personally don't go with, but just to show you. So we can again create the loop cuts, and if you want to be precise, we can create the loop cuts in this direction right now. So it would be something like this, and you can see we have a perfect grid layout right now. And all you have to do is deselecting all of these vertices, or you can do it in face mode. You can also do it step by step. So let's delete those right now. Then let's go with these. And let's move this a little bit again. And by selecting one of the edges, you just you just press F key. So you can see Blender fills those stairs automatically. And yeah, we end up with basically the same mesh. So which way you choose, it's totally up to you. I think the first method is faster, but yeah, feel free using any of them. I think they are both much quicker and faster, and resulting with a better mesh that's much more flexible than most of the script generated stairs, so you can edit them easier in the later steps. Although this area of a building is not much interesting for us because we are not going to visualize the cellar, I'm just going to show you how we can create this shape with our stairs layout. Let me just quickly change the opacity of the section just a little bit, and yeah, let's move into the modeling. So as in the previous example, I will just select all of the unnecessary vertices and remove them. And again, you can do this step by step if you're not sure if you're deleting the right ones. We will now select those edges and just press F key. As you can see, it fills those areas with nice triangles. Yeah. Let's do this here as well. I'm just thinking right now, I think the second method of modeling stairs would actually be better right now because let me just show you one thing. If we do the F key magic right now and leave this area unsolved for a second, when we enter the look dev mode, you can see we have this uneven surface. And that's because, well, yeah, like you were modeling the stairs hand by hand without paying attention to their sizes. So the grid layout here, it differs just a little bit just by those like millimeters or atomic values. And if we use the second method for creating this kind of shape, where we had a very precise edge loops in this direction, that surface would be then perfectly smooth. So just to mention, if you would like to, if you actually need to precisely model this kind of areas, just use the second method of the stair creation process. Yeah, I would probably have to redo that, unfortunately, right now. But hey, even I make mistakes. So anyways, let's now just finish this area. And to do that, I will simply move this point here, and to straighten them up, I will just scale those vertices within the x-axis to 0 again. Same method, same trick. And I will now move this one here, so we have this even angle. We could even select all of those, just deselect these few and move the entire selection up a little bit so it matches perfectly the drawing in the back. Oh yeah, and we need to fill this space. So, no, sorry, like this. Because if I did it like that, as I wanted, we would have this strange thing happening. So let's just select one edge and press F twice. Yep, so you can see we have nice stairs, nice mesh. Could be better if I choose the second method, but still, yeah, I think it's a pretty useful way to know how to model those basic shapes using just the classic poly modeling edit mode without unnecessary stuff, because I think it gives you, well, much more skill. And yeah, in the end, if you have to adjust anything in a model like this, I think it's very quick to do. And yeah, you can always say you know how to model the stairs. So let's now align them to the actual drawing we have. So I will just move the newly created object here, and let me see what's happening. Let's first select the stairs we have, the slab, the newly created stairs, and the floor plan, and hide everything else. Yeah, let's also hide the stairs we have here. And I'm doing that because sometimes, even when you're an architect, you're not fully sure what's happening. On the drawings, on the actual drawings, when it comes to stairs, especially when you have one stair layout above the another, and that's because it really depends who's creating the drawings. I know architects who draw those lines. I know there is a general rule that this line goes up and shows you maybe the other way. The dot is below the floor level and the arrow shows you the direction going up. So we can see this line here indicates we have two stair layouts. This one goes from the cellar to the ground floor, and this one goes from the ground floor to the top, to the upper floor. But I know people who just do it completely differently, so it's sometimes pretty hard to figure it out. Anyway, with our case, this looks like it's easier. Let me just check if we have this gap here. Yes, we do. And yeah, I will just align those stairs like this. We can see there is some problematic area here, but again, we had the same issue with the upper stairs, so we need to shift them a little bit, just like that, and it should work fine now. Yeah, I think we will leave it for now and get back to this element later when we will be creating materials and shaders. Let's unhide everything, see how it looks. I think it's pretty okay. Maybe the upper stair could be a little bit higher, so I can always move this layout just a bit down. Maybe like this. Yeah, and let's just leave it for now and focus on the barriers here, which are visible in the section. Speaking of stairs, for one more minute, I thought about showing you this cool trick because sometimes you have stair layouts with the wooden elements on top, and these can be pretty quickly done using the model we've just created. So you can see I just selected the top faces of our model. I'm just gonna duplicate them right now and press E to extrude. Now I'm gonna hold Control and press the numpad plus so we extend the selection. Just gonna change the pivot point to individual origins and scale the elements within the x-axis like that. So you can see the back faces overlap with the model, but I don't think that's really a big issue. Now we can press SY to extend the elements in this direction. And yeah, you can see this way we were able to very quickly enhance the model we just created a few steps back. Back to the barrier modeling. I will start with this one we can see in the section here, and surprise, I'm gonna go with a cube object. Going into edit mode, I will select the vertices here, then those two, and I will just slightly move these ones here, select to the face mode and extrude like that. I'm moving it roughly here for now because I'm still not sure if the bottom edge of the barrier, I mean this one, will go like that or like this. I mean, sorry, it will definitely go like this. I'm just still not sure how it's going to be attached to the geometry, to the slab here, so I will just leave it for now. And It's obviously too thick for now. So let's move this object here. I think we're gonna have this barrier somewhere around this area. I'm gonna scale it within the Y axis. Just like that, and we also have to move it, but I will wait with that for a second because let's hide everything. And we have a similar situation here with this angle as with the stairs I was showing you before, but to fix that in this case we will just merge the vertices like that, so it's just a one single face here, and then we are sure the angle here stays perfectly aligned without any breaks. So if I go to the if I unhide everything again, we can see the stairs have the barrier has to be shifted a little bit. So I will go back to this view just to double check if I have all the angles matched correctly, and I can now move it just for now, because again, as I mentioned, we will still fine-tune the entire geometry later, because for example I'm not sure about this height here, but yeah, you can see this is a pretty quick element to model. Let's now create the remaining geometry parts. Back to the side view again. I will, instead of creating a cube, select the object we just made and duplicate one of its faces here. And now I will separate it. And I have a problem selecting it. But the reason I did that, you can see it from this view. The barrier we're gonna model right now is most likely a part of this entire structure. So instead of creating a cube, scaling it within the y-axis again, matching it with the layout, I'm just speeding up the work and saving myself some time by simply duplicating one of the faces. So I just match it to the drawing and now simply extrude it here. I'm still not sure how it's gonna look in this area, so I'm just roughly, I think it's gonna be a glass element, so probably something like this has to be created, a very rough shape. I will reset its geometry, the pivot point, and I will just leave it for now as it is. And that process, the process of doing rough geometry, placing it around the scene, this is what I called blocking a few minutes ago. And the blocking is a very useful method of creating 3D environments, which allows you to very quickly build up a scene from the very primitive objects. Let's use another example of this kitchen element here. I will simply create a cube, scale it so it matches the actual drawing, and leave it more or less in the area and more or less at the same height. I don't know if we can see it from the section. This is a barrier, but let's just keep it like this. And blocking allows us to very quickly build up a scene and see what's happening, see where we can put the camera, very quickly check which angles, for example, will be useful for our visualization. So I would say this could look pretty interesting. And knowing that, I already know that some elements here also have to be modeled. If I decided to put my camera here, well, this might be also interesting, but I can also see this room here or this space here wouldn't be visible in any of the angles of the camera angles that I could plan at this point. And knowing that allows me to save work on those elements here. So normally, without blocking, without looking around the scene, I could be tempted to create these stairs and this opening in the floor slab as well. But by placing those rough geometry pieces like this and exploring the scene, I can work more efficiently and plan the work ahead and know that, yeah, not everything has to be 3D modeled, even if it's visible in the drawing. Of course, it also depends on the project you're working on, because when your client wants you to create everything, then you have no choice. Then you have to do everything. But in our case, we're just gonna focus on this area here, and that's why I'm omitting all of these details from this area, from the first floor as well. I'm back to the side view once more, and since this video is becoming quite long now, I will just very quickly model the remaining pieces of geometry. So again, as you can see, I'm duplicating the object, selecting it here. Yeah, let's create a new origin point just to have a better rotation later. I will move it here because the side view look I have shows me this actual part. So I'm aligning the object and I can see those divisions here, but I will again skip them for now because we are just matching the general shape to know later which details we have to recreate more precisely. Let's just keep it like this, and I will duplicate that face here. Come on, face. I'm duplicating you, now rotating within the Z-axis, and from the side view I can see we have some kind of construction, some kind of structure here. So it's probably a niche for a shelf or something like that. Again, I will just very roughly mark it here for now, having this kind of gap here, just for this one moment. Let's create an edge loop like this, adjust it in the side view, and let's select the upper edge here. So I'm gonna switch to the vertices, select the ones on the right and scale them within the X to 0 and move like that. So with the niche element ready, I will now very quickly move them to the edge of the slab opening like this, very roughly. I can maybe switch to the wireframe again and just move those vertices a little bit more to the side like that. What we still miss is one of the barriers here. So I will just duplicate this face again, rotate 90 degrees and just extrude like that. Let's disable the drawings and see the result. Our camera angle is pretty narrow, so I will change it by pressing the N key, and you can see here under the view tab we can change the focal length. So let's switch it to 35 for now, and this way we can see much more. Yeah, I think the stairs are ready now, and I think that's it. As for the secondary details, we called it this way. So this would conclude that part of the course. In the next part we will put a camera into this very roughly created scene and start to see which elements of the geometry have to be detailed much more than what we've just created, how we can do that, what are the best methods for doing that. And yeah, step by step we will be getting to the final look of this 3D scene. So thank you for watching, thank you for your patience. I hope you learned a lot today, and see you in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to support what I do and get access to all of the project files I've created together with the course, plus the interior setups, complete interior setups, plus hundreds, actually thousands of Blender exclusive 3D models, you can do that by checking out the chocofur store and learning more about our subscription plans. These truly are the best money can get you if you want to get better at Blender. Enough talking. I see you in another video. Bye bye.